beautiful Patty Lee.
Thank you. And the handsome Andrew Chow.
Hello,
Yes.
Patty.
Yes.
Are you ready to be wowed today?
Oh, I am. What do you have?
I got a cool bot on the way. Let's see what the wow of the day is.
Yes. Hello.
Hello, cool bot. Hey, there's a smile.
Hello.
Oh, hi, cool bot.
Where are you going?
buddy?
Hey,
Come here,
come
buddy.
here.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, come on.
Come on. Good boy. Yes. Okay, what do you have today? Oh.
Ooh, okay.
This.
Okay.
Is for an everyday.
Yes, and every time, this episode doesn't need any more introduction as it is.
Yes. Would you like a cup of tea?
Of course, please roll the tape.
Yes.
Do you know which Taiwanese company currently ranks first in export sales? The answer is TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. But what product was ranked first in export sales about 150 years ago for Taiwan? Rice? Bananas? Sugarcane? The answer is tea. At the time, British tea vendor John Dodd teamed up with Chun Sheng Li, the father of Taiwanese tea, and exported high-grade oolong to the USA under the name Formosa Oolong Tea. The tea became highly popular among the upper class in New York, and it was the first time Taiwanese oolong made a name in the USA. Today, Taiwanese oolong is crowned with the name the Champagne of Tea, and has become the souvenir that every foreigner traveler looks forward to buying on their trip to Taiwan. Despite its small size, Taiwan is endowed with many high, majestic mountains. It is one of the islands with the highest density of mountains in the world. This has made Taiwan an ideal place to grow tea. Therefore, teas are grown in all parts of Taiwan: the north, the middle, the south, and the east. Where exactly do the world-renowned Formosa teas come from? Let's enjoy a cup of quality tea today.
Cheers to tea drinking?
Yeah, you could, I mean, cheers, why not?
Can we?
Yeah. Cheers. Oh, that's nice.
Okay, I am a tea amateur. I drink tea, but I don't know much about tea.
Oh, man.
What kind of tea is this? One sipping, you can tell? Anybody?
I think it's
The Taiwan Hongyu.
Hongyu.
Yes.
Okay.
Hongyu.
Black tea, yeah.
Ruby red.
Ruby
Ruby
red.
red.
Ruby red.
How come you can tell in just one sip?
Well, simply by the color of it, obviously it does have this exceptional color. It's,
Yeah, that's not green, guys. That's not a green tea.
Called black
Very
tea,
red.
but in Mandarin it's
red
red
tea.
tea,
Yeah,
Hong
yeah,
cha, right?
Yeah.
Wow, I'm really curious. You guys have been in Taiwan for quite a while, right? Stephen,
Yes,
you've been in Taiwan for how long?
since 1991.
Wow.
So maybe before you were born.
A year after I was.
Well, I was still, I don't know where.
Yeah, right? You're only 18.
Yes.
Oh, this kid.
you were in a teacup.
In a teacup, yes, tiny bit. And Stephen, where are you from?
I'm from England.
Oh, the country that drinks
A lot of tea.
a lot of tea.
We drink a lot of tea, and it's totally unlike Taiwan's tea.
How come?
Everyone drinks it with milk. Some people drink it with sugar.
Yes.
It's black tea mainly. When I was living in England long time ago, I think almost nobody drank green tea. But now when I go back to England, lots of people are drinking green tea.
Right.
More and more people know about Taiwanese tea.
Yes. How did you come across the Taiwanese tea?
Thanks to my students, like a lot of people coming to Taiwan, I was teaching English, and I would go to people's houses to teach them English, and some of them would make me tea.
Yeah.
And I would look at this and there's no milk in it.
How do you drink this?
That's right.
How is it possible?
And then I would drink it and I'm like, that's really tea, and that's quite tasty, powerful tea.
So if you add milk and sugar to this, is it a kind of a pity?
It would be a waste of good tea.
Oh, wow. A convert. We have a convert.
Ah, right.
Point one for Taiwan.
Yes.
And Cedric, what was your first experience with tea in Taiwan?
Well, obviously, I started learning about tea when I was back in Montreal. I was working back then in a restaurant and I had to go grab some matcha for one of those cocktail recipes.
Okay.
And the owner of the shop was a real passionate about tea, and he basically introduced me this whole new universe, which became my new passion, which is a tea. And Taiwan was one of the popular countries that I learned of. So obviously, as I came here only a few years ago, the tea regions are exceptional here, and this is why it's been part of my daily consumptions.
Okay. Oh, every day?
Every day. I'm a tea drinker, so I love it.
So no
yes.
coffee, tea in the morning?
Sometime coffee, of course. I have a little kick in before I get working.
Yeah.
But nothing like a oolong has the same pretty high, potency of caffeine in it. So it is quite interesting, yes.
Okay, okay. Eckhart, what about you?
So in 1993, I was training martial arts, and then after the lesson, the teacher would sit down and say, let's have some tea. And we'll drink tea and talk philosophy. And at that time, I didn't know where the tea came from, but I just felt so good drinking tea. And then about 2 years later, I met a Taiwanese group in Taiwan who invited people to drink tea at their house, right? And the first time they said something like, Gao Sang Cha, or something like that. And I really didn't understand what that was, right? And I said, what does it mean? High mountain tea. I said, doesn't tea grow in the mountains, or, you know, I thought they grow in mountains anyway, right? So, but then it was quite interesting. The tea was so different. And that put me on another path.
Wow.
You know, it's like, this is something else. And then later on, we learned to meditate with the tea. Because it was actually a religious group, Yiquan Dao, right?
Yes.
And they used tea, and I really didn't know that they were a religion. I wanted to learn Taoism, philosophy, and tea seems to be quite an important vehicle for meditation, because when you drink tea, you calm down, but you can focus.
Yes.
So that's why tea is so important.
It binds everything together.
Right.
Yeah.
Martial arts, tea, and philosophy.
Yes.
Taoism.
Yes.
Oh, it sounds very zen. Though.
Very, very ancient, meditative,
Yes.
mystical, but powerful too. Yeah.
And also, Taiwanese tea are very international.
Yes.
Yes, it's all over the world. We
Everywhere.
connect.
Yeah.
Nancy, you know about this.
Well, yeah. So my story is I grew up from LA. So I guess when we were growing up, all we come across is Lipton tea. Right, yeah, in a tea bag. So we never really thought about what tea actually looked like.
Right.
So long story short, I was actually looking for a hiking trail in Nantou, and Google took you to a place that's not really a road, like a hiking trail.
Right.
So I kind of stuck in the mountains. So
Well, it
the
sounds like
local
an
farmer,
adventure.
Yes, it was. And the local farmer came to pull my car out and rescue me. And I took them to dinner to thank them.
Well, that's a love story.
Yeah, so almost fall in love with tea though. Yeah. And they brewed me this pot of tea in Nantou Lugu. So that was actually the first time I have realized that tea actually have leaves. You know, it actually kind of expands itself, and it definitely tastes amazing.
Right.
And also, I did not know what tea tree looked like. So when I was in a tea garden, I thought they were just, you know, decorative plants that just look nice. So that just kind of put me on a path, wanted to get to know more about tea. And the more I learn about tea and Taiwan tea farmers and their craftsmanships, I feel like it's probably my destiny to stuck in the mountain and to find the passion to tell the people's story. Yeah.
So you said you were in Nantou, right?
Yeah,
Just the
Nantou.
middle part of Taiwan.
Well, in the middle, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Nantou
Nantou
County,
County.
right there. Yeah.
So they're famous for
I think a lot.
Oolong.
Dongding, High Mountain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
then
think
Sun Moon Lake, black tea.
It's actually the biggest region of tea in entire Taiwan.
Wow.
How come? How come? Because of the landscape?
Yeah, because the area, they have a tea farmer.
Yes.
Then so the oolong tea, and the 软枝乌龙, and the 金萱, and the 翠玉.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Those are all really good, but
Yes.
I really like those.
So what is your favorite kind of tea? Can you name just like one, your favorite top one?
If you had to choose.
乌龙 tea, Nantou.
Nantou oolong
the 东丁乌龙.
豆丁乌龙.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
Because the tea you keep so long, you have age.
Right.
Okay.
You like the wine?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
the vintage.
So how old? You mean the age? How old or how
maybe-
long does it take?
20 years old.
Wow, 20 years old
Yeah,
aged
I collect the OT.
Wow,
age.
wow.
I thought only poor tea.
Yeah, that's what I've heard of
ages.
that. I've heard of like aging poor bricks,
Yes,
but not.
yes.
You know the Nantou oolong tea, because they are the fermentation and the roasting level high.
Okay.
So we can keep.
So if you go down south, it's not actually
It's in the middle of
in
the
the middle
island.
of Taiwan.
And so it's got I see there's a lot of crossover because like we grow tea everywhere, all over the
Everywhere,
island.
yes, all over the island. So I'm curious about your choices. Cedric, what's your favorite tea?
Well, at the moment in Taiwan, I'm based in Taichung, so obviously Nantou is my perfect location.
Yeah.
Only a few minute drive. I get to experience it often during the weekends. It's a beautiful lake to visit.
Yep.
And they have this really specific smell to this black tea in Nantou that's quite unique to me, and I just fell in love with it. The flavor is unique. They even mix it with different type of food, even the local recipes.
Oh, wow.
But for my selection, classic Nantou black tea.
Okay.
They also possess a Ruby Red 18, which has amazing history, which is a cross breed, so it is really interesting too.
Wow. Eckhart, I wanted to ask you, what's your favorite type of tea?
So in Taiwan, I like Hong Sui Oolong.
Okay.
So red watered oolong, if you want to translate it.
Yes.
And then aged tea.
Aged
Yeah.
tea.
Like Mr. Shi, I think I like all kinds of aged teas.
Okay.
Because different aged teas actually have a different feeling. So you drink the tea and you'll be sipping it and then suddenly you just start feeling very good. Yeah. It's almost like a high. You know,
Oh, yeah?
and it can take you to places.
Ooh.
But you'll still be in your body, and you will still be conscious, you know.
Right.
And
Is this like a part of the
Cedric, you're
fermentation
pretty
process
interested.
that we're like messing with?
Yes, me too.
No, I haven't yet.
yeah,
It was a thing.
you get tea drunk easily with the older teas too.
Well, how does it feel like tea drunk?
Tea drunk is you feel drunk, but you don't feel uncomfortable, and you can walk.
Right.
You know, and you're totally conscious of what you're doing, but you're just so comfortable.
Relaxed.
Very relaxed.
Speaking of going places, Stephen, you go on special tours in Taiwan, right? In these plantations, like the tea gardens?
I work for a tour company, and we send a lot of our customers into the tea plantations because some of them request that. And for the ones who don't request it, we strongly recommend it to them because we found everyone, you know, we deal with Western tourists.
Right.
We found everyone who's visited a tea plantation comes away with an overwhelmingly positive impression of it. One reason is the scenery. So even if they don't really drink tea or they're not big fans of tea, the scenery is spectacular. The scenery of Taiwan's tea plantations, in my opinion, is much nicer than that in India, Sri Lanka, places like this.
Okay.
I think it's because a lot of tea plantations here are quite high in the mountains.
Right.
Over 1,000 meters high. So the scenery is never disappointing. And also, if you're staying in a B&B literally in the middle of a tea plantation, it's very, very relaxing.
Oh,
Wow.
And a lot of our, you know, a lot of international tourists who come to Taiwan, well, you know what Taipei City is like. You can go out, you can leave your hotel at 7 in the morning, and you can be busy until 11 at night.
Right.
So actually, when they, after a few days of that, they go to a tea plantation, they actually feel like, oh, this is really a vacation.
So it's
They're not just
vacation.
running around. Yeah.
Vacation from their vacation.
Yeah, you could say that, yes.
Nancy, Stephen was hosting people from all over the world to, you know, get to know our tea culture and plantations and everything. But you bring our tea
To the world.
overseas.
To the world.
Yes. How many kinds of tea?
I actually focus on oolong tea, so-called semi-oxidation tea.
Okay.
So easier for me to explain is if it's not green tea, if it's not black tea, everything in between.
Is oolong.
So it's in the middle.
It's
Right.
just easier for because I didn't start from a tea expert, so
Right.
I have to figure out a language where I can tell people what I learned.
Right,
Yes.
With the language that they can understand what I'm trying to
Rookies like
say.
me.
Well, yeah, that's a very important. That's a very
Well, I
important
think,
role.
you know,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so, but Taiwan has a huge variety of oolong tea. So when I actually go to different countries to demonstrate,
Right.
I would probably show them different type of oxidation level, and also from different regions. And if you actually put them together and do a tea pairing, people can instantly understand, oh, so what's oxidation, so what's roasting, and that
how it
becomes
affects the flavors.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it easy to introduce Taiwanese tea to
I
the
think-
world?
Yes, it's very easy.
It is.
Yeah.
How come?
Because they all just taste really good.
That is really good.
Simply
But
put.
compared to other
Simply put.
countries, how is Taiwanese tea different?
Because there's in oolong tea, there's so many different kind of textures and flavors.
Right.
So once people actually taste it, and they will want to find out more about it, you
Yes.
know, and then that will connect with Stephen. People will start asking questions like, well,
Yeah.
how the tea plantation look like, or what are the tea trees and stuff
Right.
like that. Yeah. So I think as long as we tell people more about the story behind the tea, the tea itself, we'll just leave it to the consumers to
Right.
pick their own flavor. you know.
Right.
We present
Apart from
them.
taste, they like stories as well.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
getting to know
exactly,
the
yeah.
island.
So-
Right. And also knowing the plantation.
Exactly, yeah.
Because
The
every single
people
one is
behind it,
different,
right?
the seasons are different.
Yes.
But the one thing that isn't different is that tea leaves are actually all the same plant, right?
Huh?
Right? From black tea to green tea, it's actually all the same plant, right? Am I right, Mr. Tzu? Am I getting that right?
They're different.
They're different.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
different.
I thought
You
they
are
were-
wrong.
I was wrong.
No. I would like to.
But they nodded. Who nodded? Raise your hands.
This is
it
where
all
the
from-
conversation starts.
Yes,
This is how it goes.
This is where the
Some tea bushes can make a variety of teas.
Oh,
so
I
like you can make a oolong tea, you can make a black tea, you can make a white tea from the same bush.
Okay.
But then, like Mr. Shi is saying, is that we can also have specialized varieties to make a specialized tea.
Okay.
Like,
Such as?
Maybe like if you're gonna make a oolong, there's a oolong varietal. There is
Jingshuan.
Jingshuan varietal, and you can make Jingshuan tea.
So these are specific plants that they use exclusively for making those types of teas.
Yes. And
Okay.
if you're a good tea maker, you can take that same one and make another kind of tea.
Oh yeah, they did
So
that.
that's where you can get. That's where it can be very confusing.
Okay.
It is.
okay.
So is it kind of like coffee? Can you?
In the sense that like you can have different beans from different places, different kinds of roasts, and maybe different percentages of different roasts and beans together to get different kinds of flavors. Is that an analogy that's acceptable
that's
to you?
maybe coffee and tea are like cats and dogs.
Okay. So they both have 4 legs and they
That is-
both
And they don't like each
And
other.
they don't-
They don't like each other, but
So we shouldn't
they-
put them in the same sentence.
Okay, but they're both important.
Yes. But today we're
Both
talking
are
about.
something you can drink.
Okay. No, that's all they have in common is what he means.
They're pretty strict on this.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Maybe we need to try more.
Yes.
And figure that out. So we'll be right back after this break.
See you later.
All right.
Just pour it out.
Yeah.
Okay, let's test these tea masters, huh?
I smell your perfume.
Oh.
I don't know.
That is
maybe.
different to the one I just tried.
What does it do to the body? Any good
For your health
Yeah.
for your health?
and skin.
Okay, this is mine. Welcome back to Wow Taiwan. So we have here
A Mr. T. Parker.
You're Mr. Chi,
Right,
but
yeah.
why T. Parker?
Because you know the wine, the Robert Parker.
Yeah, oh, the famous one.
So I like the Robert Parker.
Ah,
So
the tea version.
Oh, the man has given his name to the world of tea.
Right, and he has his equipment,
Yeah,
his gear,
yeah,
and his
yeah.
babies
Look
here.
at this spread.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
can you show us, like, kind of give us a demonstration, walk us through it?
This is a 品鉴杯.
Okay.
Okay.
We put the 3 gram.
3 grams.
Yeah.
Okay.
200 water.
200 mLs.
And so we can put here.
Okay.
and,
Inside this?
Yeah, inside.
Right.
And we put the hot water 100 degree.
Okay.
It needs to be 100 degrees.
Yes.
Must.
Yes.
Because for coffee, we don't use that high temperature. But for tea,
Really, you can smell and aroma
Yes.
and
the
elegant.
taste.
Okay, so you
and
need the high
aftertaste.
temperature. Okay,
So, yeah.
okay.
So I use this
Okay, spoon.
Yeah. Can smell
Oh, okay.
different.
I thought I got another one. Oh no, you got a cold.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Aromatherapy.
It's very aromatherapy. Yes, and steam. It's a bit more grassy.
Yeah, very fragrant though. It's just it's got a
Yes.
nice kind of.
Because we have no time, so we repair.
Yes, we have no time.
Right,
Yes,
so
I know
these
what
are
to drink.
poured, yeah.
So yeah, so
All right.
Just pour it out.
yeah. And we just keep the 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
All right, steep it for 3 minutes.
Yes.
So let's go over 3 grams of tea, 200 milliliters of water, 100 degrees Celsius.
Yes.
And then let it steep for 3 minutes.
Yes.
Okay, that's how
Okay.
you test a tea.
Yes.
Okay, let's test these tea masters, huh? Huh? Okay, who's in for a guess?
An aroma
what
test.
kind of tea is this?
Okay.
Okay.
It's oolong.
Hey, that's a cheat. That's oolong, right?
I think that's
when you
Oriental
drink it-
beauty oolong tea.
When you drink, it's different.
Okay.
I smell your perfume.
Oh, but I don't wear perfume.
Can you touch some
Is
of
this
the
number
perfume?
one or number two?
Number 3.
More roasted?
I
That's
believe.
nice.
Yeah.
It's kind of fruity.
Kind of fruity.
Can I have another?
Yeah, of course. You could have those. Yeah, you want another one? You want another one?
So now we can.
I'm peddling something weird right now.
I think you have to dip it again.
Oh yeah, it's kind of going away. All right.
For Steven as well. I
This
really
is
want.
number.
Okay.
This is number
First round.
First round.
2. I don't know.
That is
maybe.
different to the one I just tried.
And I noticed we're
Yeah.
only putting a very
very
light
So
different.
sweet.
into
Yeah.
the,
Not
yeah,
quite
we
so
can
sweet.
try.
The more fruity ones are more sweet. Yeah.
This
we
is
go.
the number 1.
It's very pale.
You can
Yes, indeed.
like
Yes,
the,
it's very-
the wine.
Like wine. As Steven said, it's really pale.
Yeah.
Ooh, so we gotta like kind of slurp it, get
Yeah.
air into the mouth.
Yeah.
It's like tasting wine.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, right?
Same thing. Yeah.
You
right.
need the air with
Oh wow,
the fluid.
that's a nice flavor. That's a oolong.
Yeah.
That's a oolong, for
Yeah.
sure.
Hey, the funny thing is, just by smelling it, I kind of find it kind of fishy.
Huh.
Is it my problem?
I think it might be like the funkiness, like because there's a fermentation process
It's
with
the
oolong, isn't there?
umami or
The umami.
the
umami.
seaweed kind of.
Yeah,
the
Yeah.
taste. I mean the kind of
Right.
aroma. yeah.
1,000 meters elevation, we call the high mountain oolong.
Okay.
Yes. What kind of tea is this? What's the name?
There's a high mountain oolong tea.
How
High Mountain. How
From
my
Lee-
mountain.
Lee
oolong
San.
tea.
Lisan?
Lisan.
Oh, that's
Now
good tea.
we different the Dayuli,
Okay.
the top, the Taiwan, 2,035 meter.
Okay. 2035.
Yeah.
Yeah,
difference.
that's a different
Yes.
tea. Yeah. It's a bit harder to smell it when it's in a dry tea leaf form, if it's not in a box, right?
Yeah.
But like, I've had Da Yuling a few times before, and it is something else. It's really, really, really nice.
How do you feel about this, Cedric?
Very interesting. Would height, since it's a high altitude tea, would it affect smells, the perfume, the scent of the tea leaves?
Yeah, when the tea,
Yes.
the fermentation, light and heavy.
Yes.
Okay.
The light.
Oh, the lightest.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what does it do to the body? Any good
For your health
Yeah.
for your health?
skin.
And skin.
Oh, 抗氧化 is
Antioxidant.
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 Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
the
yeah.
lightest roast gives the most benefits to beauty and health.
Okay.
Okay, this is mine. And this,
Yeah, you know how to pick the right one.
so this is
second-
number 2.
Yeah.
Have a smell of number 2.
Ooh, different color.
Very dark compared to
color.
number 1.
Roasted, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, the first one was very green. I was
Yeah.
surprised
Right,
how
the first
green
one was
leaf
really
looked.
green.
This looks
It's
more
almost
like
like
the tea I'm
seaweed.
used to looking at.
Okay.
So-
Like the
roasted.
black teas.
And light fermentation.
Tea time.
Fermentation, right?
Hello. This is you.
Oh, the color is very
You.
different.
Thank you.
And this is you.
Great.
Getting
Thanks very
darker
much.
now.
Very
Oh,
welcome.
yes, this is much darker.
Okay.
The oolong maybe keep the 20 years.
This is a 20-year-old oolong.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's a kid.
You like it?
It's a teenager.
Yeah, I like it very much.
Yeah.
What type of bottle would it be kept in?
Porcelain.
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 So it still needs to kind of breathe.
Yeah,
It needs
yeah.
to be like a bit of air transference.
Yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't mold or anything.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah, right.
Wow, this is such a unique smell.
It's a bit sour. There's a
With aged
type of
teas.
Your
tartness to it.
aftertaste.
But also
So-
like really heavily roasted.
Really?
Like the roasting
Yes.
taste is really strong for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, yeah.
This is the taste of me stuck in the mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it brings you
Pretty
back.
much,
Huh?
yeah, pretty much brings
It's almost
back.
kind of nutty. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you fell in love with this flavor.
At first, yes. Yeah. And then you start to explore all the other ones, and it's just very interesting. Yeah.
It's much more flavorful than number one, in my opinion, which is a good thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you like your tea to have a kick, to have a flavor.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Otherwise, it's like drinking water.
So this was number 2, right?
Number 2, yes.
Okay.
May we reveal what kind of tea and what's its name? It's oolong, right?
南头洞顶乌龙。
Okay.
Oh, this is Dongding.
洞顶 mountain.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's the name of the mountain, Dongying
Yeah,
Mountain.
yeah,
Okay.
right.
Number 3.
Number
Okay.
3.
Wow, this is an even darker
This is
color.
number 3. Okay. The tea leaves look so different.
Yeah.
Right.
These are like
Yes.
rounded balls of tea leaves, but that one is skinny, slim.
Right, like a sliver, right?
That looks like an Oriental beauty.
It looks like
the
an
leaves
Oriental
look
beauty.
like it. They do. They look. It kind of gives it away, a little bit.
But let's first
Let's
smell
find
and
out.
taste.
Thank you.
Of course.
Oh yes.
Oh, the tea leaves smell so nice. Oh, smell
You
this, smell
smell
this.
the honey,
Yes.
the sugar.
I think it may be like girls'
迷
favorite.
香红茶。
Why can it only be girls' favorites? 'Cause boys can like it too.
Well, sorry, I like like more aromatic,
Yeah.
more kind of
Perfumey,
sweet.
yeah.
Yes, I love this.
I would like to try some of that.
Oriental beauty.
Yeah.
belongs
Is
to
that the guess?
Yeah, this
Yeah, I think so.
Smells like
the
it,
little
feels like it.
grasshopper
Yeah.
story.
Looks like it. Smells like it.
Eckhart saw
Yeah.
the tea leaves and instantly says, "Oh, this looks like Oriental beauty." No, the Oriental beauty is here.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
After you drink it, you will become beautiful.
Oh, okay. The champagne of teas. Yes.
That was the first product, really,
to
from
really, like,
Taiwan
come out
to
of
be
this.
known in the West, yeah.
It becomes very sweet, and then it might disappear for a while, and then sweet again.
You're still here. So, is this Oriental beauty?
Yeah.
东方美人.
Correct. Correct.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Correct.
It has
Great.
It has such a recognizable smell.
Yeah, very
But they keep
distinctive.
the
Oh, I
maybe
love this.
12 years.
12 years?
Yeah.
Are aged tea usually more precious and expensive than less aged?
Yeah, most of the time it's like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And is it
Time and
always?
space is money.
Yeah.
True.
Do they always age it to a certain amount of years? Is there like a 6 or a 12 or 18-year mark, or is it just however long?
Till it's finished.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Thanks.
So it's finished.
How do you know when it's finished?
That's my follow-up.
When it's drunk up.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
For the age.
When it's used up.
I thought you,
Used up, yeah.
you look at it, and then when you think it's ready, then it's finished.
No, it's not finished like it's old, like it's broken finish. It's finished like there's no more.
Okay.
That's how old it is.
It's not like whiskey, where they put aside a certain amount, and this will
Until
be for
it's
6
done.
years, this will be for 12
Yeah.
years.
Because the moment you have it in the ong or in the container, it starts aging.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 1 year you can drink
2
it.
years, yeah.
But
Okay.
it won't taste the same like if it's 5 years old. you know,
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
so maybe we'll have a marker like 5 years, 10 years, 15 years.
Well,
as
you
an
have to like
average.
kind of give yourself a rule not to open it and finish it before the 5-year mark.
No, if you're smart, you always buy 2.
Super
So
smart. Yes.
One you put and you just leave it. You
Okay.
forget it.
Right.
Okay.
Right,
And,
right.
and another one is you every 6 months or every year you will try and drink that so that you grow with the tea.
Okay.
You know, that's what my teacher used to say, you grow with it.
Right.
So then wow, this is it. I like it. Then if it's finished, then you can go to your one that you stored.
Okay.
You know, say
Okay.
for instance, or if you really want to share it or give it as a gift. Because then you know basically it's Marco, right?
Yeah.
Right. So you kind of you follow along its aging
it.
process.
Right.
Oh, that's very
We're
good.
aged with it, right?
Yeah.
One of
Gracefully.
my tea farmer in Hsinchu, Omei Township, right? He actually keeps his tea every 5 years, so he won't drink it until the 5th year. And from what he was showing us, the tea becomes a little bit from the honey to the peach aroma. So for Oriental oolong
fruity.
tea, yeah.
Okay.
So I think everybody has their own kind of timeline
Right.
for keeping the.
Right.
Can you say
Tea
there's
aged.
no best tea? it's just the one that's most suitable.
That's suitable for
yourself.
yourself.
That
I
one
think
that you
so,
like the
yeah.
most.
Yeah.
So I love Oriental Beauty.
Yeah.
Is this a kind of oolong as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's also oolong.
Yeah.
And that means the tea leaf itself, like it's from the oolong plants, like the kind of oolong variation, or?
No, it's because it
mostly-
was
So
irritated by.
Right, because I ask a question thinking I'm going to be kind of close. It's
Yeah,
like,
no,
you don't get it, buddy.
I think it's mostly
please,
Qingxing
Ekon, please
oolong,
explain
right?
for us.
The cultivar is Qingxing
Yeah,
oolong
Qingxing
for,
oolong.
for
Qingxing
Oriental
Qingxing
oolong
oolong.
tea, the tea tree. Yeah.
Oh, okay. The champagne of teas. Yes.
Yeah.
It's
that-
Formosa.
that-
That's the
Oriental
name
tree.
of
Okay, Oriental
Oriental
Beauty is the
Beauty.
champagne.
Yeah.
It's the champagne of tea.
This
Okay.
looks really old, though.
Where's
There's
this from?
this is a newspaper. I think the New York Times.
Oh, this is New York
before
Times.
1900.
Wow.
1869 or something.
1869.
Or something, yeah. I think it was 1869.
Yeah, John Dodd was
It's
in
the-
Taiwan like 1860 something.
Something,
Okay.
yeah.
And John Dodd
So-
was one of the first people to export Taiwanese tea?
Yeah, Li Chunsheng,
John
Zhong
Dodd
Du.
was a British
Zhong Du,
tea
yeah.
trader in Danshui.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he played a very important role in exporting Taiwanese tea to the USA and to the UK. So probably Taiwanese tea was the first made in Taiwan product which Western people associated with Taiwan. That was
Right.
the first product really
to
from
really, like,
Taiwan
come out
to
of
be
here.
known in the West, yeah.
Last time we called the Formosa oolong tea.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
And the Zhong Du and the Li Chunsheng
Li Chunsheng.
export to the American and Boston.
Okay.
Oh, this is Taiwan pride.
Yeah.
Wow. During this 3-minute talk, I'm still tasting the Oriental Beauty
Yeah.
in my
It
mouth.
stays
And
in
it's
your
coming
mouth.
back.
Yeah.
Like if you want to express it
Yes.
with the term of wine, it's like super full-bodied.
Full body.
Full body.
It's like
Yes.
the aroma stays there, and when you try to breathe in and breathe out, you still smell it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why
Your
like,
aftertaste.
it's so amazing.
Aftertaste.
Right.
Yeah.
How would you translate 回甘?
Oh my god, that's the
aftertaste.
hardest.
Aftertaste?
How do you?
I think
That's called
It
It
aftertaste.
says so much more in Mandarin than it does in
In
Yes.
English,
I
yeah.
think in English, a word I sometimes use is lingering aftertaste.
lingering.
Lingering. Well, that's romantic.
So
That
the-
little qualifier really changes it,
It
actually.
wouldn't be the mouth feel of it.
No.
It's after the mouth.
That's
right.
it.
Yeah.
Because normally I think sometimes people think of teas as something kind of bitter, right? And sometimes maybe even kind of really dry, that it kind of grates the mouth. But after that bitterness kind of goes away, it gets a bit of sweetness when it mixes with your saliva.
Right.
And then that's what
That's
回甘
回甘.
means. It's,
Yeah.
it's the
Wow.
return of the sweet.
That's it.
Oh, that's a good explanation. Oh my God.
Yeah, but there's no word for that in English.
Yes, maybe we can use
Two
this kind of
Chinese words.
description.
But I
It's
like
like a
ling-
long
yeah.
description.
Yeah, but I think lingering aftertaste is.
It took me a long time to figure out, because huigan, it's so powerful if you understand the Chinese
Yes.
word.
Yeah.
right? And then, but it lingers. It's there for a long time, and it comes back in waves.
Yeah.
This is also what's very interesting. Your saliva changes. It becomes very sweet, and then it might disappear for a while, and then sweet again.
Oh, you're still here.
Little surprises.
Yes. So just then we've tasted 3 different kinds of tea, all oolong.
Right.
And just as Andrew felt like he knew something about oolong and asked the question, but no. So guys, do you want to see it? In a chart, okay?
Right, yeah. Can we get like
No.
a kind of explanation of a graph, maybe?
Oh,
Visual aid.
yes. Let's know more about
Yeah,
oolong.
I can
Okay.
explain.
Okay.
Fermentation, 10 level.
Yes.
And we drink the first high mountain tea.
Okay, this is 1 and 1.
Roasting.
Okay.
We drink the second 洞顶 oolong. The roasting maybe 5.
Okay.
And the fermentation 4. Oriental Beauty, the different fermentation
Very
Very
fermented.
high.
Very.
maybe 8. And
8.
roasting
Around
7 or 8.
8. Okay.
So you can recognize when you the oolong tea, any kind oolong tea, your mind say fermentation, roasting.
Is these two kind of qualities that
Yeah.
kind
Yes.
of
Yeah.
separate the
The
different
available-
types?
available.
Okay. the types of flavors?
If I don't have a really strong stomach and I really want to drink tea, how could I choose?
Right. How would you avoid like getting the stomach ache sometimes?
Yes,
from,
this
like-
is the 1-1 and this is the 7-8.
Yeah, when morning you can drink this.
Okay.
And
But sometimes when I drink tea, I cannot sleep at night.
Right.
So you can choose this.
Oh, okay.
So these have less caffeine.
Yeah,
the darker roasts.
tannic.
Oh, the lower tannins.
Low
tannins.
tannins.
Okay,
I
okay.
see.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
But I heard also that good tea helps you sleep.
Yes, like
Does
GABA
it?
tea.
Oh, and that's
GABA
something.
tea. What's GABA tea?
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds pretty new.
Oh,
Maybe we should
okay.
take a break and
Yes.
then we'll find out a bit more.
I'm gonna study the chart. Yeah.
Back to homework.
We have the amazing savory chicken. They'll infuse this black tea into the steam when they'll roast it. It's marvelous.
So are there like certain types of things that we're supposed to have with tea?
Well, is it pairing?
Right, like as in
wine
pairing, like
pairing,
wine pairing.
tea pairing as well.
Hey, Kuba's gonna tell us.
You were ready for something.
Hey, what you up to, buddy?
Welcome back to Wow Taiwan.
Taiwan.
Hey, we're with some GABA tea.
Yeah, like it's kind of crazy that tea is like such an ancient tradition, but still it has innovations happening today.
Yes.
Evolution.
Evolution. Tell us about GABA tea. Well, I've never heard of GABA tea.
So GABA tea is a chemical, or GABA is a chemical that your brain produces.
Okay.
Okay.
And it relaxes you.
Ooh, I really need
Yeah.
that. Give me 2 liters, please.
So then in the 80s and 90s in Japan, they figured out a way to get GABA out of food for cancer research by introducing nitrogen in the process. And then they thought, let's use green tea. Our tea is so famous, right? And then from that, other countries that make tea, they started experimenting with different processes and different teas to make GABA tea.
Second pour. Second.
So Taiwan is now actually getting quite famous for producing high mountain GABA tea.
Wow.
Yeah.
It almost reminds me of like a super, super light Oriental beauty. Like it has a bit of the Oriental beauty flavors in the background, but it's like not as heavy or as prominent as an Oriental beauty.
Yeah,
Cedric.
that's the roast.
Okay.
How much you
Roast.
roasted it before you introduce the GABA step in the making, yes.
Cedric, you seem to like it.
It's beautiful, such a beautiful product. Honestly, the process of the GABA innovation on the market, I think, brings a whole new product. It's a trendy thing, maybe, but I love the flavors to it.
Yes.
And you can also have a swag as you're sipping it.
Swag,
More like
huh?
the Mary Poppins, a little pinky up.
Yeah.
But, I love the product. It's a beautiful tea.
Yes.
Honestly.
Steven, do you like it?
I like it. Now I'm just thinking, so tea is a science as well as an art?
That's it.
Well, this is correct.
Fusion. Yeah.
Yes. It's art. It's artisan as well. It's some innovation work.
Right.
And it
You
tastes
know what's
really
so
nice.
funny, or what I find so interesting about tea is that you have evolution and revolution.
Ah.
Because sometimes a new tea is invented or a new step is invented or another process, and it can just create chaos in the industry. Right?
Right. Either good or bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think like GABA is so interesting because I'm not really allowed to say it, but it becomes a food medicine.
I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
In a sense, like people with high blood pressure or diabetics, they can drink GABA tea.
Right.
And, so I don't want to say it's a medicine,
Right.
but it's like.
Right.
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 Where can I get this?
You,
I need
you
some.
talk to my boss.
Okay. Yes.
My wife.
please.
Yeah.
Right.
Where's your farm? We need an address.
We
We'll be
need to
there
go.
with bags.
In Busan.
Okay.
Oh wow.
But I see you have a different kind of tea here as well.
Yes.
This is a different kind.
That is a white tea.
A white tea.
Taiwan white tea.
Okay,
It's very
right.
different from the Chinese white tea where they just use the first sprout or maybe the first leaf next to the sprout.
Yeah.
It's a whole leaf and it is dried with the least invasive process. So we just use nature to dry it.
It
Oh,
almost.
sun?
Sun a little bit, but also wind.
Wind,
And, if it's rainy or at night, you put it inside.
Okay.
And you just let the air go through
And I
like a
heard
breeze.
there's a lot of work to do.
Yes, because you don't want the leaves to touch. Because if they touch each other, they bruise. So you're going to have to separate them.
They
So it's a-
bruise.
yeah.
They're
so delicate.
Very
Yeah.
Oh, they're baby.
So what are the kind of effects that you get out of this kind of a tea leaf?
What's good about this is, again, health properties, but
Right.
it also relaxes you to a certain degree. It can be used for cold brew.
Oh.
It's also very good for cold brew, but it can be overnight.
Okay.
So you can start the day before, maybe a few hours, and then put it in the fridge, and then the next day you can drink. It's very good for cooling in summer. And then again, also for health properties, you can get the good things out of tea, like what makes green tea so famous. Yeah.
Yes, and it's really smooth, really light. And
Very smooth and oily. There's
Oil-
a sense of oiliness if you brew it for quite long.
Okay. The
It's
oils from the
smooth.
leaf. come
Oils
out.
from the leaf, yeah.
Wow, wow. And like you were saying about cold brew earlier, that's another thing that's kind of picked up in popularity in the
Yes.
last few years in Taiwan as well, right?
Yep.
Nancy, can you tell us more about
Oh yeah,
cold
sure.
brew?
I actually brought one to share with everyone. It's a osmanthus flower, oolong tea, along with Siji Chun is the cultivar. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think
4
cold brew
seasons.
tea is just a very easy way, a very refreshing way to just enjoy a cup of tea when you don't have all the hot waters around.
Yes.
And you could just leave it in the fridge for about 6 to 8 hours. I think any tea could be cold brewed. Of course, it will present as a different aroma. So
Okay.
I brought it for everyone
Thank you
to
so
share.
much. Thank you so much.
Yay.
for trying
This is good for
Oh, exciting.
hiking.
Right.
Right.
Yes,
When I go
yes.
hike, I always bring my own. I just put it in the fridge overnight, and the next day, wow, I think I make some really good tea. But it's just that simple.
And it's not hot.
And it's not
it's not hot.
refreshing
You go
as
hiking, you want
well.
to cool down.
Yeah, it's good to go. It's good to go. So, like, I know that tea traditionally, like, from my understanding, because my dad's from Hong Kong, in the UK, tea sometimes means dinner or like with a meal, right? So, like, tea always should kind of go with something to eat, right? Because sometimes if you drink too much tea, it can also make your tummy hurt. So, are there like certain types of things that we're supposed to have with tea?
Well, is it pairing?
Right, like as a
wine
pairing, like
pairing,
wine pairing.
tea pairing as well.
Is that something that we do now? Hey, Coolbot's gonna tell us.
You were ready for something. Huh?
Hey, what you up to, buddy? What you
Who
got?
are you going to?
Yeah, who are you looking for?
Right.
Oh,
yes. Mr. Chi has something.
oh, thank you, Coolbot.
Yo, pineapple cake.
Pineapple
cheese.
cake.
Yeah, and cheese?
Cheese, yeah,
Wow.
cheese. Everybody know the wine and with cheese. It's
Right.
good.
Yeah.
But you can try the tea pairing. Now we have a pancake and the cheese. You can try it. Everybody know the wine sommelier.
Yeah.
But I'm say the new
sommelier.
book, tea sommelier.
thought
It's
you
a
were T.
new
Parker.
idea. Yeah, it's my name.
Oh, that's a beautiful
So you
book.
can,
Yeah.
when I go to the Michelin restaurant, you look,
Ooh. Fish.
Right.
the green
With-
tea.
with
Okay,
green tea.
okay.
We can try different food, different tea. This lady, the Ansel Bibi, French 3-star
Okay.
chef,
Okay.
they put a pour.
Oh.
Pour. This is a winemaker, La Long Bonso,
Yes.
very famous, French.
They know how to appreciate. Huh?
Yeah, we drink the tea and wine.
Oh, together.
Yeah, we
Pairing
together.
tea and wine.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, wow.
Wow, Mr. Chi, you go to some really expensive restaurants.
yeah. You
It's the perks of the job.
Yeah.
the fish.
Okay, okay.
So tea pairing with meals.
Right.
Well, it's quite new to me, huh?
I'm just really astounded. I mean, first of all, I feel so much more relaxed.
Yeah.
Now at this part of the
Do you
show.
want some more?
I would love some more.
Yes, we need some
And,
relaxing, yes.
It's so heartwarming to see the tea, and also that despite having such a long history and such a robust kind of ecosystem in Taiwan here
Yeah.
as an industry, it's still changing. It's
Right.
still trying new things and
Yes.
finding new ways to express itself.
Yeah, and I'm really curious to all of our guests here. How would you, celebrate tea and introduce this to our foreign friends, Stephen?
I would tell them that it's really central to Taiwanese life because it would be very difficult to walk through a Taiwanese residential area and not see people drinking tea.
Yes.
It would be very difficult to walk through a commercial, a shopping area and
Yeah.
not see people buying, milk tea or bubble tea,
yes.
something like this. And if you go into every convenience store or every supermarket, you can see so many types of tea. Okay, a lot of them are not Taiwanese teas, but it shows you tea is
Yeah.
at the very center of Taiwanese life.
Yes. And Cedric?
And if I might add, obviously tea, since it is the topic today, I come from a background of hospitality, restoration. So in restaurants, tea is becoming such a trendy vibe right now.
Right.
We're incorporating tea, we talked about with Mr. T. Parker, with the food, but not only that, but here locally in Taiwan, we have in Nantou, since I'm from Taichung, we have the amazing savory chicken. They'll infuse this black tea into the steam when they'll roast it. It's marvelous. And I'm from Montreal, and we just love mixing those cocktails with some beautiful teas. And this is where
Infusions.
my passion started,
Yes.
when I incorporated those Taiwanese teas into my recipes.
So guys, if you ever come to Taiwan, we don't only have boba tea, okay?
Right.
Yes.
You could really come here
Well-
just for the tea.
Yes, we have some decent, nice, you can self-brew yourself.
yeah.
Yes.
And always get it as a gift.
Yes. So welcome to Taiwan. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Woo.